Hey guys, thanks for stopping on in today. In this video, we're going to be touching on a handful of matchups in college basketball and who we think are the better bets against the spread. This is going to be for February 24th, 2017. If you're interested in what games I'm going to be touching on in this video, I will list them down in the video description. Also, if you're interested in getting our daily free play, you can head on over to our main website, stumpthespread.com. You can access that in the link in the video description as well. And also, if you want more of this pick video content in the future, you can go ahead and slap that subscribe button. So thanks, guys, for stopping on in today. And to get things started here, I want to touch on a matchup between SMU and Connecticut. Southern Methodist having themselves a really strong year in the American Athletic Conference. This is a team that, even without Larry Brown being the head coach, still doing great things over there at that program under their current coaching staff. This is a group that potentially has the makeup to make a run in the NCAA tournament. But in this particular matchup, not a knock against SMU. We just kind of like what Connecticut has been doing in conference play, and UConn's been able to take care of business on their home court rather consistently. UConn coming into the year, top 25 team, did not live up to that billing in the least bit, especially during their non-conference. But UConn has been a bit better in the AAC, and Connecticut's been hanging around in that upper tier of the AAC throughout conference play, and the Huskies could potentially make a run in the AAC tournament. They'll have a lot more on the line than the other top teams like SMU and Cincinnati, and that could open the door potentially for the Huskies to make a run and really live up to some of their ultimate potential. But behind their strong home court advantage, we feel like the Huskies getting about 6 points in this one is going to be the better value bet against the spread. Moving on down here, we have a matchup in the CAA between Towson and William and Mary. Towson's been playing some excellent ball over the past month plus of action. We took Towson the other day, getting about 10 points on the road against UNCW. The Tigers were looking pretty good in that one for a while. They kind of fell apart a little bit in the second half, but they did go on to cover that one, falling to UNCW by 5 points. The Towson Tigers really coming into the year, having quite a bit of expectations, expecting to finish in that upper tier of the CAA, and they've been able to do that, even though they got off to a slower start than they would have liked in the CAA. They've definitely been playing their best ball down the stretch, and that's really great for the Towson Tigers as they look to maybe make a run in the CAA tournament, which is just around the corner. Going on the road here against William and Mary, who's in a similar spot in the standings to Towson, standing just behind the Tigers right now. Earlier in conference play, William and Mary went on the road to Towson. Very competitive matchup, but the Towson Tigers were able to go on and pick up that win. Towson doesn't necessarily have a lot to play for in this matchup today, as their spot for the upcoming conference tournament is locked in, but they also want to be going into the conference tournament playing solid ball and coming off a win. So we do expect Towson to put in a good effort here today. And William and Mary in their last outing on their home court, they did not play very well, fell by double digits against Hofstra. Hofstra not necessarily having all that much success in the CAA this year, so not a great result there for the Tribe. We do like Towson getting the 5 points here as a pretty solid value bet in this matchup. Moving on down here, matchup in the SEC between Florida and Kentucky. This has SEC conference title implications written all over it. That also is going to affect seeding for the upcoming SEC tournament and even potentially seeding in the NCAA tournament when all is said and done. Florida, those that remember not all that long ago in conference play, went against Kentucky at home, and they went on to completely blow out the Wildcats, winning that one by 22 points. Florida just seems to have the mental edge over this Kentucky squad, and that's not all that surprising given Florida as a whole with their roster has quite a bit more experience than this newer version of Kentucky that relies a lot on very talented freshmen. Kentucky's got some injury question marks right now, which is another knock on them coming into this one. Kentucky's sitting right now at about 4-point favorites. A lot of that has to do with the Kentucky home court advantage there. But if, those that remember, not all that long ago, Kentucky at home going against Kansas, and the Wildcats did not play with all that much composure in that matchup. And Kentucky was able to get a pretty big lead in that game before they went on to blow it and lose that one to the Kansas Jayhawks. Kentucky could find themselves in a situation where they, build a lead here against Florida early on as they build off the adrenaline and momentum of their home crowd. But we just like the veteran aspect of this Florida team, and really in terms of potential for the NCAA tournament, we feel like this Florida squad has a bit better chance to make a run. And part of that has to do with the fact that Florida's been a bit more balanced this year in comparison to Kentucky. Florida ranks not quite as good as Kentucky on the offensive side of the ball, but they rank rather significantly better on the defensive end. And that's always an important thing to keep in mind come tournament play, especially when things start to slow down quite a bit. So getting that 4 points, we feel like the Florida Gators are going to be a pretty solid value bet in this matchup. Moving on over to the Big East, we have a matchup between Seton Hall and DePaul. Seton Hall picking up some really big wins recently against the likes of Creighton and Xavier in the Big East, really boosting their resume, and potentially with those solid wins, getting them on the safer side of the bubble, at least for the time being. That can always change come conference tournament time, and Seton Hall knows that they cannot start letting up at this point in the year. It's just far too important. A loss here on the road against DePaul would be rather devastating and really hurt Seton Hall's overall resume. Seton Hall is a team loaded with veterans. Their Achilles heel can be their free throw shooting, and that can come back to haunt him come tournament time, especially in close games. But here, going on the road against what's been the worst team in the Big East this year, and also Seton Hall, earlier in conference play at home went on to completely blow out DePaul. I believe they won that one by over 30 points. This is definitely a matchup that favors Seton Hall, and we do like them to go on the road here and win and cover this moderate spread against the DePaul Blue Demons. Just a couple more games that I want to touch on in today's video, starting over in the Big Ten between Northwestern and Indiana. Northwestern was able to beat Indiana not all that long ago in Big Ten play, but Northwestern hasn't been looking quite as good over the last few weeks, winning just 2 of their last 6 games, and also kind of surprisingly falling in 2 games against Illinois. And really, Northwestern, with how they've been playing throughout the regular season, you really expect them to win matchups such as those. Going on the road today into a very tough environment at Indiana. The Indiana Hoosiers, huge disappointment in Big Ten play this year. Indiana not playing very well over the past month or so, and especially in tight games, Indiana's had a tough time coming through in their competitive matchups. It's really a disappointing situation for this Indiana team, who's looking like that they've fallen out of the NCAA tournament picture. Those elite resume building wins back in the non-conference against opponents like Kansas and North Carolina can only go so far in terms of boosting a squad's resume up. Indiana, they've been leaning on those elite non-conference wins quite a bit, but just the fact that they've been unable to get the job done on a number of occasions in the Big Ten have them probably on the outside looking in right now, and Indiana knows that it's pretty much now or never. They have to put up and start racking up some wins that could potentially start today here at home against a Northwestern squad that has not been looking quite as solid as of late, and we do feel like this Indiana squad is going to try and really put in a full effort here today on their home court behind that home court advantage. So we are going to go ahead inside with the Indiana Hoosiers today, giving just the 3.5 points as the better value bet against the spread. And just one more game I want to touch on in today's video is between the Baylor Bears and the Iowa State Cyclones. Baylor, another team that's had quite a bit of success this year and really outperforming everyone's expectations. Baylor hasn't been as good as of late, winning just 3 of their last 7 games. Earlier in conference play, Baylor played Iowa State at home, and the Bears actually had a pretty tough time fending off the Cyclones. They were able to pick up that win in the end in what was a defensive battle. Picked up that win by a couple points. Going on the road here, going to be a bit tougher. Iowa State has one of the better home court advantages in the Big 12, and Iowa State, they've been picking up their play as of late, winning their last 4 in a row, and the Cyclones really have started playing some of their better ball of Big 12 play as we've headed down the stretch run of the regular season. Behind their home court advantage, we feel like Iowa State in what's nearly a pick-em right now, just giving 2 points. We feel like Iowa State's going to be the better bet against the spread in this one, and what's probably going to be another competitive matchup between these two teams over in the Big 12. So that wraps up the games that I wanted to touch on in today's college basketball pick video. Again, if you're interested in getting our daily free play, you can head on over to our main website, stumpthespread.com, and I'll link that in the video description. Also, if you want more of this video pick content in the future, you can click that subscribe button. Also, any thumbs up on the video are greatly appreciated. So thanks, guys, for stopping on in today, and we'll see you in the next college basketball pick video. Bye.